When I started gardening, the idea of the naturalistic garden was only just at its beginning in a way. And I think what's happened now, and as a result of the time in which I've been making gardens, is that we've got a much better blend between the naturalism of horticulture and what's going alongside it with biodiversity. And gardens have become these really interesting places. I describe my work as being naturalistic, and I think it sits very much at that spectrum, that end of the spectrum of landscape design. And things that influence that, of course, are the naturalistic use of plants and their connection to where they came from and how they inhabit a place. Knowing your plants well to be able to do that in an artful way, so that you're working in a medium that is flexible to its environment. So whether we work in a dry environment or a shaded environment or somewhere that might be in another country, we're coming from a place that looks to how those places function naturally. Key markers for me in terms of my development were definitely moving to a childhood garden aged 10, an acre of garden that had been completely taken over by nature for about 70 years. What was magical about that place was the discovery of this balance between what we do as people to garden a place and what nature wants to do to take it back. And learning very early on that it wasn't a sensible thing to fight the natural world, but to try and work really closely with it. Everything made sense as soon as you see plants in the wild. You understand what their ecologies are, what their niches are, and then how you might interpret that within a garden setting. And that puts you on a strong footing in terms of knowing how to work with your material. I think that the future of garden design is a particularly interesting place. Right now, it's very exciting. All sorts of things are coming together. This dialogue between horticulture and ecology and how the two can come together. You know, for the first time in a long time, there's a really good dialogue about that. And I think that as designers, we really do have positive agency for positive change. Our projects through the studio are wide-ranging, and we work not just in Britain but further afield, and if we are travelling further afield, we like to think that we're able to make a difference where we land. The nature of my work, which is that it taps into a sense of place, that it comes from a deep commitment to naturalism, is what's probably been the influence to my industry. And I feel lucky to have been part of a zeitgeist, which we're part of at the moment, and is driven by this need to look after our environment more carefully. I would hope my legacy would be that people would look more closely to the natural world with a view to understanding it before they wade in and made changes that were unnecessary, to look at all that you need to do and know more, and to then make the right moves that are informed. I think the work that we make that we're most proud of sometimes is almost not visible because it feels right. And it feels right because we've understood a place and made it work. I think that's a quiet approach to landscape design, and I think if it's quiet, it's not always a bad thing to be memorable. To be awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award for what I've done is a huge privilege. I've just turned 60, but I just really feel like I've got started, and all the knowledge that I've got behind me is something that I'd like to think I had another lifetime to play with. So thank you very much.